What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I am back with another review of Ready to Love Miami. This is season 7, episode 3. The episode is titled I'm a Smoocher. Let's jump right on in. First off, we already know that the ladies are in control this week, and to our surprise, or at least to mine, we see that they're actually meeting at the same place that the men's lounge is. Listen, I'm okay with this because y'all already know every time that we watch Ready to Love, the men's lounge usually looks better than what the ladies get. So I'm alright with this. Alright, so what's this week's objective? Tommy wants them to take the guys out on dates that are a little bit infused with them and the things that they like. Now, hopefully, we'll see an episode where the guys have to do the same because you already know when it comes to Ready to Love, sometimes the women's dates require more than what the guys have to do. But let's go ahead and jump on into these dates. Alright, so the first date that we see is actually going to be between Mercedes, Sue Ann, I think that's her name. I feel like we haven't really seen much of her, so this is good to see. Blake, as well as the new guy, Mark Anthony. So when the guys first get to this date, they are not interested in participating because this date actually consists of them wearing these like bouncy shoes or whatever. And this basically combines fitness and dance for the girls. They were really excited about it. So, of course, the guys went on ahead, put the shoes on, participated. Now, I will say this. The whole time I was watching this date, I said, why is it like an exercise class? Like they've been jogging up and down the whole time. I'm like, I thought there was some dance elements. Where is the dance? Maybe we never saw it. But let's go ahead and talk about the conversations. So, of course, Mercedes, she wants to talk to Mark Anthony. She has been excited since the man has joined because you already know they have that aviation connection. Now, one thing I just wanted to point out, did y'all see that couch that they sat on? Like, it was literally like a futon covered with some sheets. I said, oh, baby, if you going to be on TV, you could have rented a couch or something. Bring your couch from home to put up in your business because this looked tacky. But nonetheless, let's get to the conversations. All right, so let's start off with Mark Anthony and Mercedes because they actually had a very good conversation. She lets him know that she's looking for, a stability because she's looking for an anchor. And he lets her know that he moved around a lot as a kid. We also learned that her previous relationship ended because the man cheated on her as well as produced a child out of that cheatation, and she was not going for it. We saw them like flirt on the couch. They looked like they were actually having a good time. I think I might like them. I might like them together. We'll see how the show plays out. But I will say it seemed like they had a very easygoing conversation and that they were comfortable with each other. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Sue Ellen, or should I say Susu, and Blake, because their whole, at the beginning, they seemed like they were just kind of flirting with each other, basing off of, they just had this little fitness class. And now when it's time to actually have a conversation about each other, Blake basically lets her know that, he has been married before, he has been divorced before, so he also has had children. So for him, it looks a little bit different when it comes to this whole dating thing because he really wants to basically secure a partner. That's what I think that he was trying to say. While, she hasn't been married, she hasn't, been divorced or anything like that. So their outlook on this situation is very different. So he says that it's based on attraction, intelligence, as well as compatibility. And I'm just like, well, are you trying to tell her that you're compatible with her? Like, I just wish that this conversation would have been a little bit more a conversation between the two of them about each other instead of, well, where do you think you stand in the competition? Or how are you handling dating multiple women? Like, Sue Ellen, you need to know what this man is really like. I don't care about how the competition is going. That's not even important right now. What did Blake like? Did Blake like to cook? Did Blake like to swim? Can we learn something about this man? Like, the nickname is cute and all, but I just feel like we should have got more out of this conversation. Like, he don't know nothing new about you. You don't know nothing new about him. Literally, you know nothing. At least nothing of importance. Besides the fact that he gave you this cute little nickname, Susu. So now you think everything's good? Girl, you're dreaming. find something else. Find something else to be in common with this man. Now let's go ahead, move on to the next date, because now we have Cynthia and Andre. One thing I will say is that Cynthia is beautiful, and I think she can do better than Andre. I'm sorry, Andre's hair is a major problem for me. Now, I'm not dating the man, but y'all see what it's looking like. Come on now. That tendril? Baby, you gotta let that go. Actually, and the mohawk gotta go too. But let's go ahead and talk about this date. So she takes him on a painting date because she said that is something that relaxes her, and that is something that she actually likes to do, in her free time. So she ends up asking him, like, so what are you actually looking for? And he's like, someone who he's compatible with, and he likes a womanly woman. And honestly, when he said that, I just thought he was going to say, because I'm an alpha male. I really thought he was going to say that afterwards. But nonetheless, of course, we already know Cynthia's story. She has 2 children from a previous relationship. She has already mentioned that she has had to, be that alpha female sometimes. So clearly she is not this soft little woman who needs to be rescued. She gonna hold it down, regardless if she got a man or not. So she ends up, telling him, like, well, what if you meet a woman who's not so soft, and that's because she's had to deal with things in her past that made her have to, have defense mechanisms and all this other stuff. Are you willing to teach? And he's like, yeah, of course. I mean, honestly, you guys, I think I'm really going to like Cynthia, and I just don't want Andre to waste her time, because I feel like she has definitely gravitated to him the most, because we haven't seen her talk to anybody else yet. But like I said, I feel like she's gravitated towards him the most. And honestly, if you're not ready to date a woman with children, don't waste their time. That's all I'm going to put out there. Now, at one point, we actually see her get very emotional because, of course, she's talking about her past and how she has had to go through things that have made her, put up a hard exterior. But, there is a softer side of her. You just have to, peel back those layers. I mean, baby girl starts crying. And one thing that I will say that I really did like was the fact that he even let her wipe her tears on his shirt. I was like, okay, I see you, Andre. We will see where their relationship goes, because let's not forget that Jeffrey was also very interested in him. And when Cynthia started coming around on last week's episode, she copped the attitude. So we gonna see, y'all. All right, y'all, let me go ahead and move over to this next date, because it was Carvana and Febreze. And I said, okay, I see what's happening here. Now, if y'all can recall on the last episode, when they were sitting on that couch and like all the ladies were getting to know the 2 new guys, whenever Febreze was talking about how, he's traveled the world, he does this, that, another. Did y'all catch when Carvana was like, oh, it sounds like you need, somebody that's young? Because she wants that lifestyle. She wants this fancy, rich, luxurious lifestyle, and now she's thinking, oh wait, I think this older man might be able to provide the lifestyle that I want. She wants him to spoil her, and I'm just like, okay, I understand women want to be spoiled, which is fine, because you should be spoiled by your partner, but I don't know, it's something about Carvana that I am just like, girl, you gonna put yourself in a trick bag looking for a man for financial and materialistic things, and he gonna treat you bad. So you might want to watch what you're looking for. Now, I will say this. Carvana definitely comes off, at least to me, as she's looking for someone who she can level up with. Now, here's the thing. I don't think she's gonna be able to get that out of Febreze, because she was asking him like, oh, how long have you had your business? And he's like, oh, I had my first business when I was 27. After 10 years, I sold it or whatever. And then she was like, oh my gosh, I totally asked for a guy who has had a business and sold it. I'm sorry. I find that to be so random. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, I want to date a man who has sold a business. Sold a business? Like, it really makes it seem like the only reason why you want a man who has sold a business is because you want to know how much money did he make from selling it. Like, I'm sorry, let's just call a thing here. It sounds like baby girl is just here for financial gain. Now, this is where I wasn't sure if the show got choppy or not, because he asked her, what do you like to do for fun? She said, oh, I like to motivate people on social media. So you mean to tell me you just like to post, like make posts or go live? That is not a hobby. That is not something to do. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. I have to judge Carvana. You need to have more than that. You trying to judge somebody because he had a roommate, but he made it seem like it was going to be a temporary situation because he had to move out quick. While when somebody asks you, what do you like to do for fun? You say you want to make posts on Instagram. You want to go make a TikTok? Girl, grow up. Just grow up. So then he circles it back to him dating somebody in Puerto Rico. I'm like, did she mention that she was half Puerto Rican or something? Because why is he talking about this? And I feel like it was just to make reference to the fact that he knows that Puerto Rican women are gold diggers or something. I don't know. I'm not saying that they are at all. I'm just trying to figure out where he was going with that conversation. Now, when it comes to, Carvana, he felt like she was very distant. And she's like, no, I'm an open book. He literally tells her, you're hilarious. I think that he really sees Carvana for who she really is. I think that this man is older. He knows the game clearly that Carvana is trying to play. And he ain't with it, which is fine for me. Now, let's go ahead and move on. All right, y'all. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next date. And that is with Morgan, Marcella, Tony, and Lyndon. All right. So we quickly learned that both of these ladies are interested in both of these men. And I'm just like, that is a very interesting compatibility. Because either you're going to go with the grown man who got children, who loves God, or you're going to go with the young man who's a bartender. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, this is two opposite type of men. Now, they decide that they're going to have a picnic, right? All right, cool. But here's the thing. Why do the ladies keep telling the guys, here's what Tommy told us to do? This is the task for this week. Because they did it as well as, I want to say, that first group date. They were like, yeah, Tommy told us that we're supposed to do this, that, another. Why are y'all telling the guys that? We know this show and how it's set up. All right, so they're basically going to go around the room, I guess, and say things that they want the other people to know. So Morgan is like, one thing about her is that she's never been in love before. Like, she's never fallen in love. And Tony, in his confession, was like, that's a red flag for me because she's an older woman. I believe that Morgan is 38 years old. And he feels like that's a red flag. So I don't personally think that that's a red flag. With the way men are nowadays and how trash they are, it is very possible for a person to not have fallen in love before. Is it unfortunate? Yes. But I don't think he should hold that against her. Now, when it comes to the rest of everybody else, we only saw Lyndon talk about how he has to be vulnerable and all this stuff. Y'all, I'm sorry. I just don't see it for Lyndon. So we actually see them break off. Marcia goes with Lyndon, and then we see Morgan and Tony. Marcia and Lyndon, I don't see it for them. We can go ahead and send Lyndon home because the ladies are not really into him like that. And on top of that, I feel like he's all talk, and we're not seeing or learning anything about him. Like, nothing new has come up when it comes to Lyndon. Now, hop on over to the other side. Morgan and Tony, they talk about his relationship with God yet again. I'm like, okay, and what else is going on? I know that these people are just now getting to know each other, but like, can we get better conversations? Because I feel like once he throws out him and God, it makes Morgan melt. Morgan is just like, oh, okay, great. Tony's a great guy. I'm like, girl, how is he with them kids he got? Let's ask those questions. How often you got custody? All right, now let's go ahead and move on because we have Demario and Jeffrey. They go out on a date. They go horseback riding. And We learned that this is something that Jeffrey used to do when she was younger. She used to do all types of fun activities, but once her parents got divorced, that's when all the activities stopped. And I was like, that makes me think that when it comes to her own children, she probably tries to provide as many experiences as she can for them, because that was something that was snatched away from her when she was a child. Now, more about Demario. She asked him, what does it look like for you to date a woman who has children already, considering you don't have children? His response was that she has good time management and she probably has like her financials together because she has children. I don't know how those two things equate together. You don't know if she dropped her kids off late every day for school. Like, you don't know, what her finances look like. Again, that still was not even answering the question, because he's like, yeah, I think I can, help with that. Help with what? Listen, if you don't see yourself stepping up into the stepfather role, don't waste this woman's time. That's just my theory when it comes to these people who want to date people who have children. Because it's not like he mentioned that he even liked children. So I'm honestly giving this whole thing a side eye, but we'll see where it goes. The last date of the evening would have to be Jonique and Lyndon. I said, is Lyndon really a hot commodity, y'all? Because I don't see it. But I will say that they are closer in age, so that makes sense. Jonique, to me, is the realest one here. She took the man to a wine bar because she likes to relax with a bottle of wine. I get it, girl. I get it. I feel like, again, she's the realest one because she's not trying to take you horseback riding, something that you don't normally do, and probably something that she don't normally do. But I see you, girl. So here we go again with Lyndon talking about how he works in the nightlife and how he's trying to be more vulnerable, even though he has not said not a one piece of vulnerable information to us. I'm sorry, I ain't heard him say it. Y'all let me know if y'all have heard him say anything that you was like, wow, Lyndon, that was kind of deep. We ain't heard it. As far as Jonique goes, though, she's not really tripping off him working in the nightlife. She wants somebody who she can turn up with, have a good time with. So it's all good for her. So when it comes to her letting him know something about her, she said that she compares the men that she dates to each other. I was like, okay, at least baby girl, she is a multi-dater. So this process might be a little bit easier for her because she's used to balancing multiple men at the same time. All right, now let's go ahead and move on to Tommy's lounge so that the ladies can discuss who they're feeling, who they're not feeling. First, we have Mercedes. Of course, she's feeling Mark Anthony. We saw the chemistry. Get on to Sue Ellen. And she's like, oh yeah, because, Blake, he gave me a nickname and all this stuff. And I'm like, girl, y'all wasn't talking about nothing on that date. Now, we also saw that she likes Anthony. And I'm like, I wish that we would have actually saw what he had to say. Maybe he was actually offering conversation. But let's go ahead and move on to Marcia and Morgan, because they both were talking about this date with Lyndon. And I'm just like, well, what do y'all get that we did not see? Because he was not offering anything besides telling them how he wants to be so vulnerable and ain't said nothing. He must have great conversation on the phone. That's my only thing that I can say. He must have great conversation on the phone because he's not giving anything for the show. He isn't. And it was interesting because Morgan didn't even mention Tony. So then we jump on over to Jonique. She says that she's feeling blue from that group date. I just kind of wish that they would have went on a solo date because we haven't really seen much of Blue. Now, of course, she mentioned her and Linda going on that date and how they basically have similar lifestyles, so it might work out for them. I said, yeah, all right, we'll see. So now we have Cynthia. She talks about how great her date was with Andre and how she was very vulnerable and how, she even cried on this date. It's clear that she's definitely feeling him. Now, we get on over to Jeffrey and how she went on a date with Demario. So she even mentions how he doesn't have children, but he does have great husband energy. Well, does he have stepfather energy? Because I feel like that's something that matters. Like, I don't know, maybe y'all can let me know in the comments. Am I being too dramatic when it comes to a guy stepping up to be a stepfather and involved with your children instead of him only dating you and not caring about your kids. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about who the ladies were not feeling. First things first, we have Marcella. She ain't feeling DeMario. She said she ain't never talked to the man. Then we have Cynthia. When Cynthia said, oh, Tony would have to be the one for me because all he does is a bunch of shoulder moves and he ain't talking about nothing. I said, oh my God. I gotta give it to her. I can agree because since the past couple of times that we even heard Tony talk, we just know that he has a relationship with God and that's all we got. And I think he got like 2 kids. Moving on to Carvana, of course, she is not feeling Lyndon ever since he said that he had a roommate. Now, according to Carvana, though, she says that he's a player because he tried to kiss multiple girls. I mean, I honestly would not even call that being a player. I just think he has no idea of social cues. Alright, so then we have Jonique saying that she ain't feeling Febreze. And Carvana, she ends up chiming in about how he thinks that she's a daddy's girl, and how she's just spoiled. But I'm kind of like, well, that's the energy that you're giving, because you gave that same energy to Mark Anthony about how, oh my gosh, I want to be spoiled. You should spoil me. Is that not the energy that you're giving off? So she's like, he has this idea of me. Is it an idea or is it your true self? And now you're saying how people actually see you. So the ladies also chime in about how, he talks about sex way too much, especially considering how old he is. I don't know how people do it where he's from. Because wasn't he in like France somewhere for a couple of years or a bunch of years? Yeah, I don't know how freely they talk about this. Maybe it's different than how we do it in America. Now, Morgan, she talks about how she's not feeling Blake because he kind of attacked her when he said that he already had children and she's hopeful that she will have children. And I'm just like, y'all just not a match. The one thing that I will say about Ready to Love is that when people are not matches, it is okay, because if somebody else likes that person, that doesn't even mean that you need to bring them up anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we've seen time and time again on Ready to Love where people be like, oh, I don't even talk to so-and-so, so they should go ahead and go home. No, that person is just not here for you. But what you can mention is how you had some bad dates or somebody gave you a red flag and maybe that's the person who should go home. You know what I'm saying? Now, we sit up here and get to Jeffrey, y'all. Jeffrey talks about how Blake says that he hates that he has to go through this process because he's already found his girl here. And according to her, it's her. Y'all, when have we seen this man talk to her? So, according to her, he be checking in on her after every date, trying to figure out what time she got home, trying to see what the rankings are, all this stuff. I'm like, girl, at a certain point, you need to stop answering his phone calls if he doing all of this. Now, according to her, she's not even interested in all that. But I'm like, okay, you could have just gone ahead and told him, you know what? I don't think that we're compatible. So let's go ahead and see other people. Like, I don't understand why you decided to bring this up in this way at the girls' lounge. I feel like you did it so that you could be like, oh yeah, if anybody was interested in Blake, don't worry, because I've been on his mind this whole time. So that let me know Blake was going to be in the bottom. And who else was there? Febreze. So Marcia has to let Febreze know that, the ladies see a lot of red flags with you. You talk about sex too much. I mean, even when, she was sitting there waiting on him, he even made reference to the outfit that she had on. I'm like, yeah, this ain't the place for you, buddy. So he ends up getting let go. And I will say this, he did take it in stride. He wasn't really feeling some type of way. He even said that he felt like there was like a cultural difference. Maybe there is, I don't know. But yeah, that's where that kind of left it. But when it came to Blake talking to Susu, she had to let him know that a lot of the ladies felt like he was combative, all the negative things about Blake, as well as the fact that you had Jeffrey saying all this stuff, and he's like, no, that's not really how that went down. So we're definitely going to see some type of confrontation on the next episode so that we can get to the bottom of the Blake and Jeffrey fiasco. But y'all, that was it. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye, guys.